Okay, for texture, remember that what we're talking about here is implied texture. And while everything that you see in this area, wherever you are, there's a feel to it, what you're trying to do is capture that feel visually to imply the texture so that if someone saw that photo, really the subject is what that subject would feel like. So if I take a picture from up here, yeah, you can kind of say there's a texture there, but there's a big difference. And again, this is kind of combining some of the work with angles between this shot and getting so close to the texture that you can actually see each individual fiber. Now here you've got some creative options. You'll notice that I'm a little blurred right now because my shot's at an angle. And what that means is there's only a certain amount of distance that a subject will be in focus, and it has to be at the same plane or parallel to the lens. So if I tilt my hand that way or start to stretch my arm out, you'll see that my fingers are out of focus while my arm hairs are in focus. And if I switch over, now the fingers are in focus, but the arm hair is blurred. So that's because of this angle. Now it can be an intentional technique where you're trying to use a depth of field to show texture and kind of emphasize it in one part of the frame, but not the others. Or if you wanted to capture the entire thing in texture, you can tilt the camera straight down. You'll start to see a tool pop up. I don't see it right now. Maybe it's because too much is going on, but you'll see a tool that looks like a set of crosshairs that helps you find the zenith. There it is. And when you line those crosshairs up, I'm having trouble working with it right now, and I don't know why. But when you line those crosshairs up, you can get directly above it. Now the texture that I'm capturing, there's those crosshairs again. The texture that I'm capturing, every single fiber is in focus, and then I'm making a decision about how close I want to crop that. Clearly, having your texture in focus is a key to being successful on the picture. And once you've decided your distance and you make sure that everything's in focus and decide your angle, you can go ahead and take a picture. And that might be one of my texture shots. I'm going to take this little lesson outside. I'm going to go over to the grass. And again, everything you see out here has a texture, but I'm going to focus on the feeling of grass. Everybody knows that texture. And once again, thinking about angles, okay, if I look down, I'm probably not able to see every single individual blade. So you want to get closer because you want the feeling and the detail to be there to create that sense of implied texture. And then when you get close, same things that I said before apply. But again, here's an area where you can create some really interesting textures and change that angle. So in this case, I'm still getting that sense of feeling, but by doing a worm's eye view and kind of angling out, I'm getting a different view on that texture versus hitting it directly above. And I would argue that when you see some individual grass blades come up, I know there's a lot of background noise. When you see the individual grass blades come up, that's probably a better feel than when you're looking down below. So it's really a creative decision. Just make sure, again, that everything's in focus and that you're choosing your framing well. And if you are changing an angle, just recognize that some things will be in focus while others will be out of that area of focus. So I'll go ahead and take that picture. And there's one example.